Welcome to the amazing Hypnotic Bedtime Story Audiobook, Chapter 3. You untie the silken cord and take off your cloak to see you are in a room that is just like any other hotel room, with only a few minor differences. The bed is covered with only a gray sheet made of the satin-like fabric that is obviously the most fashionable fabric to use wherever you are right now. And there is no television or clock, but there is a small refrigerator. You also notice there is a red number 11 painted on the ceiling above the bed. The large, muscly man pulls a wooden chair with gray cushions around to face the bed, sits down on it, and motions for you to sit on the bed across from him. You take a seat, noticing how comfortable the bed is, as he leans forward, resting his elbows on his knees, steepling his fingers between them, and looking down to study his hands, as if somewhere in the space between his palms the words can be found to explain your situation. You are silent, waiting patiently for him to speak. While you are waiting, your attention drifts over to the closed curtains, and you wonder what you might see outside of the window that must be behind them. When he begins to speak, your focus shifts back to the man. He says what he has to say slowly and deliberately, moving his steepled fingers to punctuate each point he is making. You are in the year 315, he says, and this doesn't make much sense to you till he adds, that would be the year 2372 for you. He pauses and looks up, trying to gauge your reaction. You feel strong and ready to handle anything, so you simply nod and wait for him to continue. I'm not going to be able to tell you everything right away. I'm supposed to be downstairs right now, and I think it might be a little bit too much for you to take in all at once. So I'm going to tell you what you need to know for now, and you will be able to find out more tomorrow. He looks up again and you nod, conveying you are okay. And it is okay for him to continue. So he takes a deep breath, goes back to looking at his hands as he holds the breath for a second or two. Then he relaxes as he softly and slowly lets his breath go. And he says, "You are here because you know some important things, and who and how you are right now could be very helpful to our mission. I don't know how long it will take, but I can't stress enough how important it is that you cooperate. More people are counting on you than you can possibly imagine. You are more important than you think you are. If I explain the scope of your influence on the history and the survival of humanity any more clearly, this may be difficult for you to process, and you probably wouldn't believe me. So just for now, trust me when I say you are a very important person." Now he stands up and returns the chair to its original position, crosses the room to stand facing the door, takes hold of the handle, pauses, then turns his head slightly towards you to finish his visit by saying, "Please keep away from the window. Don't let anyone see you. There is food and water in the fridge." It might be a little different from what you are used to, but believe me, it is perfectly safe and a lot better for you than what you have been eating and drinking up until now. Someone will be here in the morning to help you, and if you have any difficulty sleeping, press one of the buttons beside the bed. The red one will give you some bod vibes, and the blue one is comforting audio. Either one will help you sleep, but don't use both at once, not on your first night. It's best to get used to these things more slowly. I'm going to say good night. Thank you for coming, and I'll see you again soon. And he is gone, leaving you alone to explore your room. The first place you go is to the window, where you open the side of the drapes just enough to peek out. Your window is facing a courtyard, and your view consists of only other walls and windows. Most are dark, but a few, scattered here and there, are softly lighted behind curtains of different colors. It is raining, and the entire scene outside is gray, damp, and not very interesting. So you look in the closet and see several outfits are hung up there, all made of gray silk, but for 2 sets of white flannel pajamas, identical to the ones you are wearing right now, and there are 2 pairs of gray slippers on the floor. In the bathroom, you see it is the same as any other hotel bathroom if the owner of the hotel was in love with gray decor. When your stomach rumbles, it dawns on you it has been some time since you have had your dinner. You are a little bit hungry, and it would be nice to have a bedtime snack. In the refrigerator, there are several stacks of packets of things wrapped in cellophane. There is a shelf in the door. Here, there are 4 translucent blue plastic bottles of what appears to be water. You take out one of these bottles and place it on the shelf above the fridge beside a paper-wrapped glass, and inspect one of the cellophane packets. It contains some bite-sized green discs. You put the little bag up on the shelf and look for something more familiar. You are able to find an apple and something that looks like banana bread. You are now sitting in front of the mirror in a chair that is the twin to the one the man was sitting in only a few short moments ago. And you pause to see if you are still looking as absolutely fabulous as you did before, and you do. How wonderful, you think, as you pour yourself a glass of water. The water looks like it might be glowing a little bit, and you remember what you have been told about everything here being good for you, and there being nothing to worry about. This is nice to know, but you still empty the water and refill your glass from the tap. The water looks completely normal, So you decide to use this water to help you wash down your bedtime snack. Your nose wrinkles up a little bit as you take a tiny bite to sample one of the green discs. It tastes almost like a potato chip, but so much better. You eat the whole thing, then another and another. As you are eating them, you try to discern what exactly the flavor is that is so addictive, but you cannot because you have never tasted anything like this before, nor have you ever tasted something so good. Each chip has just the right amount of crunch, with not one being exactly the same as the one before it, but none being too hard or too soft. As you are chewing, crunchiness melts away to feel almost like chocolate. When the little bag is empty, you take a drink of water to cleanse your palate, and the water has a similar effect on you. It is the best water you have ever drank, and there is something about it that feels really good in your mouth and going down your throat. Your hunger is satisfied from this little bit of food, but you are wondering if this banana bread-like loaf will be as tasty as the green chips. You open the packet and take a little bite, and you are not disappointed. It tastes like some other kind of fruit you have never tasted before, and it is also as delicious as anything you have ever eaten. You are feeling quite full now, but the apple on the desk area in front of you is beckoning you to try just one bite. Of course, you can already imagine you are not going to stop at just one bite, because this ordinary-looking red delicious apple is even more wonderful than anything else you have eaten so far. It is juicy, and the morsel in your mouth explodes with flavor, and you close your eyes to really appreciate how this electric sensation bounces around and across your tongue. As you focus more closely, you feel these flavors are moving patterns, and the patterns take form in your field of vision. First, the sour flavor moves around your tongue, making a spirograph pattern, each line adding a circular lattice that is growing more and more complex and more beautiful each time it bounces off the edge of your tongue to move off in a new direction. You hear sweet music as sweet undertones of flavor fade into your awareness. Gentle clouds of color form to flow around your tongue and fill your internal world with the ethereal music as the clouds of color glow more brightly, obscuring the sour light effect. Then it all swirls away into an amazing whirlpool when you swallow. You take a deep breath in through your nose and take another bite of the apple. A crisp, clean, sparkling aroma sails up your nostrils to fill your sinuses, and this clean, scented air feels as if it is lifting your brain up into the clouds of color, and tart comets of light streak across an indigo sky to flow through and light up the clouds, and you and the scene around you. Feel as if it is all rising up higher and higher as you chew, swallowing abundant mouthfuls of juice and then, finally, the entire bite of apple to watch it all swirl away into a whirlpool formed in the darkness you see behind your closed eyelids. And the darkness you usually do see when your eyes are closed becomes darker and darker until it is now a flat black with no specks or swirls of color to distract you. You are glad to have this blank canvas in perfect silence to paint the next scene upon, and each self-created mind picture is more beautiful than the one before it, and you have never felt such joy or had so much fun till every pleasantly edible bite has been consumed, and you are left holding a very skinny core, chewed through till there are seeds showing. You are finished your meal, but much of the joy from it will stay with you like a solid, stable feeling of contentment permeating the core of your being. Stuffed to the point of feeling quite drowsy, your belly is warm and full, and your head and eyelids feel heavy and droopy. You are feeling that pleasant kind of tired feeling you feel when you have had a great day and worked hard, doing important things and getting them all done. You sit still for a few minutes, appreciating how it feels to be fully and completely satisfied. You feel heavy, like there is some invisible force keeping you deeply rooted to the chair, and you are comfortable here, so comfortable you don't want to move a muscle. As the seconds tick by without making any sound in the silence, you become aware of the sound of your own breathing and how your breathing is slowing down. Your head becomes heavy and slides to the right before you pull it back up straight again. It is upright for only a few seconds before it nods forward. You notice you are nodding off again and correct yourself, only to have your heavy head slide backward. Your head is so heavy it drifts back as far as it will go, and this time you pull it forward, it becomes entirely obvious to you you should be in bed fast asleep right now. Your entire body feels very heavy, so tired and heavy. The bed seems to be too far away from you, but you yearn for its soft comfort, so you use your will to command your muscles to do what is necessary for you to stand, walk to the closet, take off your pajamas, and put on a new, cleaner pair that feel just as soft and warm as your previous pajamas as you drape your worn pajamas with the dirt-stained knees over the back of the chair. This is when you notice the lights are dimming for you. When you examine the walls, you find no light switches. Fatigued enough to sleep in any light, you climb into bed as the light is continuing to gradually fade away. When you pull back the gray silken sheet, you are surprised at how heavy it feels. You expected something lighter, what appears to be made of the same fabric as your weightless cape has more of the quality of a lead apron than a silk sheet. You wonder if you will feel claustrophobic under it, but you do not. The weight is warm and comforting. You feel held, almost swaddled, as you lay on your back and look up at the red 11 painted on the ceiling. The light is still growing more and more dim, and you are curious about the buttons beside your bed, but you are also too tired to concern yourself with anything else, and you can already feel yourself falling asleep. With the pressure of sleep being so strong, you surrender and allow it to have its way, and very soon you are aware of nothing at all. You don't know how long you have slept, because you really were aware of nothing at all the entire time. You are now opening your eyes to a new day, and you feel well rested, like you have been snoozing comfortably for many hours. You hop out of bed feeling positively perky, and tiptoe over to pull back the edge of the drapes just a little bit again. A peek out of the window tells you it is a beautiful sunny day in the courtyard, and things all appear so much more cheerful outside. You enjoy the most invigorating and refreshing shower you have ever had before putting on the most comfortable clothes you have ever worn, and eating the most delicious breakfast you have ever eaten, repeating the meal you had last night with the same effect as before. You can't believe how really good you feel and are wondering what happens next, when there is a soft tapping at the door, and it opens just enough for a young woman barely out of her teens to poke her head in and ask, "Are you decent?" You laugh and say you are more than decent, you are absolutely wonderful, and she laughs too as she enters the room. She has the same silver hair and dark eyes as the boy, but her skin is somewhat more tanned, as if perhaps she has spent a good deal of time outdoors. There is something familiar about her as well, only more so with her than the boy, and you are trying to figure out where you have seen her before as she says greetings and sits down cross-legged on your bed. She just sits this way and smiles at you for several seconds before saying, "I'm here to tell you some things." And this is when an inkling becomes more like a knowing, and you questioningly say, "Annabelle?" Her looks, voice, and mannerisms are all exactly the same as your neighbor's, only this person is so much younger, so you think it can't be her, but your sixth sense is telling you otherwise. The young Annabelle stares at you blankly as you are thinking about this, but breaks the silence just as it is about to become a pregnant pause by asking, "How did you know that name? Did you read the book?" What book? This book? You ask? Even though it is entirely obvious you are already reading this book. No, Annabelle answers, lowering her voice and looking around the room as if someone else could be there to hear her. The secret book only me and my friends know about. The romance novel. You tell her you are familiar with romance novels, and they are common in your time. You are slightly startled as she throws herself on the bed and hugs the pillow as she exclaims, "Oh, how I wish I had more time for you to tell me about them." Then she sits up, still embracing the pillow, and seriously asks, "Do the Annabelles all have flashing violet eyes and heaving bosoms? Are their bodices always torn away by men with sardonic grins and throbbing body parts? Do they always stop arguing, get married, and have children in the end?" You say, "Pretty much, but they aren't always called Annabelle." Your new friend lets loose a loud and ecstatic sigh before begging you not to tell anyone what you have just talked about. You promise her you won't, but in exchange you would like to hear more about when and where you are and what role you are to play. As you move a chair closer to the bed and sit down, Annabelle fidgets with the edges of the pillowcase before she carefully chooses her words, just like the man did the night before, and as she speaks, you feel as if she is reciting what he has told her to say, so you listen carefully, without interrupting, and just take it all in for now, without judging anything as right or wrong, or good or bad. You are here because we have a piece of machinery that is malfunctioning, Annabelle hesitantly begins. Some of us here in the sanctuary think we should turn it off, and others think it is best to keep it turned on. Our leaders don't think there is any problem with the machine. They think stories about what is happening beyond the wall are fake news. You are here to help convince the council to turn off the machine, and believe me, it needs to be turned off, and nothing bad will happen if we do, because everything is okay now, beyond the wall. The young lady, who was nervously fidgeting on the bed, seems so much more sure of herself now as she takes a deep breath and continues. Our government moves slowly and takes a very long time to make decisions, because they like to think they are doing all of our arguing for us, so you might have to be here for quite some time. We don't think you would like to spend most of this time alone in this room, so we have gotten you a job in care. People in care wear the cape and only interact with those who are about to go beyond the wall. Some of us, myself included, don't believe there is any magic kingdom beyond the wall where people go to live in the infinite mansion of Elliot Grey after they have drunk enough water to become dormant and have been catapulted over the wall. We believe not only is the world beyond the wall healed and ready to accept the living, But there are people living out there right now who are perfectly okay, just fine, and there is nothing to be afraid of about them. This is when it becomes apparent Annabelle has worked herself up somewhat, and she stops speaking for a time to bow her head, breathe deeply, and use both of her hands to smooth the blanket on the bed before her. Just taking care of what is before her to do in a practical manner quickly causes her anxiety to subside. As she is doing this, part of your mind is wondering how you will get back to your own time and thinking about what you have left behind, and another part thinks you must be dreaming, and you should enjoy your time here in this interesting dream. So you are quiet and still as you patiently wait to again enjoy the sound of Annabelle's voice and the slightly unusual way she has of talking that is soft, smooth, and punctuated here and there with little clicking sounds, an aspect of her speech that is missing in the older Annabelle. Before people go beyond the wall, she continues, after 2 final pats of the bed, they tell their life story to someone who is devoted to care. These memories are supposed to live with you till you have completed your service. Before you are thrown over the wall, you pass along whatever you remember to another caregiver. This way a part of you and the others you have served stays behind and is always loved. A small group of us believe the people who are living out there are those who have served in care, and their descendants who have, for whatever reason, turned their backs on civilization. The council knows they are out there, but think they are wild, mutated savages able to withstand the pollution they think is still beyond the wall. They believe it would be certain death for anyone who has not drunk the water and been blessed by the spirit of Elliot Gray to go beyond the wall. We know these are alternative facts because some of us have been beyond the wall and have lived to tell real news about it. As a caregiver, you will only be working a few hours a day, more if you would like to, and this might help you learn about us. We think it is important you know who we are, because that might make you more helpful to our cause. Young Annabelle smiles as if she has said all she has come here to say, except for the part where she asks you if you have any questions. You tell her you have too many questions to ask them all, but would like to know what happens next. Next, she says, we go to speak to one of the counselors. She doesn't believe you exist, but once she sees you, she will be very impressed when hearing your story. You are helped into your cape, and once again you are walking in the red carpeted hallway, seeing more slippered feet pass by you, and hearing more people say greetings than you did the night before. Again, you are veering ever so slightly to the left till the hallway evens out, and you keep putting one foot in front of the other for quite some time till you stop in front of an elevator and wait with several other pairs of feet for the door to open. It does open with a familiar door chime sound. Then you board with your friend and companions. Position yourself with your back to one of the corners and feel the slight pull of gravity you feel when an elevator begins to go up. Then you feel a soft bump and the doors open. A set of feet walks off and the doors close. You feel yourself rise up and another soft bump. 2 sets of feet disembark and there is one more short jaunt. The last pair of feet that are not your own or Annabelle's leave, so you are now alone with Annabelle for the rest of your journey through what feels like several more floors before coming to rest on your floor. The carpet is sky blue here, and you both exit to the right to begin another long walk through the hallway. As you are walking, you breathe in through your nose to smell the subtle fragrance of flowers, sunshine, and green things. This hallway is more well lit, has more of the feeling of fresh air about it, and the sky blue carpet sparkles just a little bit in the sunshine coming in through the skylights above your head. You feel as if you are going to a better, happier place, as you would expect to if you were on your way to the place in the sanctuary where those in a position of privilege would reside. You pause for a moment as Annabelle pushes open a glass and metal door and holds it for you to walk through onto a ceramic tile floor. She tells you it's okay to take your hood off now, so you do to see you are in a vast room being used as a greenhouse, with all manner of plants being grown in all manner of ways. Around the walls you see doorways to hallways and windows overlooking other greenhouses surrounded by lawn, gardens, or fallow fields. Beyond this there is a concrete wall of the same dimensions as the brick wall you encountered the night before. In the gardens there are a few gray-clad bodies tending the soil, and seeing them reminds you to look around for any other people in the greenhouse as you are walking through the center of it towards another glass and metal door. There is one other person present, a man in his mid-30s with silver hair and dark eyes. He is standing off to the side of your way and holding a trowel with mouth agape and smiling all at the same time. You check out Annabelle's reaction, and she is smiling at him as she says, "We did it." And you both proudly walk past him, even though you are not sure what it is you have done to make you feel so proud of yourself. But you do just the same, because it feels good to be proud of yourself. And it's okay to do this, even if you are not sure what the reason is. And you know from now on, you will not wait for a reason to feel good about yourself. And this is good to know, and a very good feeling. So you carry on, enjoying looking at the plants, ready to feel good about yourself all of the time from now on. Growing in this greenhouse, you see plants that are mostly for fruits and vegetables you are used to, and some that are strange, but look perfectly edible, and may be delicious as well. All of the greenery is lush, healthy, and looks well taken care of. You pause again at the door on the other side of this room to allow Annabelle to open it for you, and she steps aside so you can pass through. This section of the sanctuary has no carpet and much more interesting architecture. Smooth white walls curve around and up to vaulted ceilings. Stairways and hallways all give the impression of spaciousness and freedom to roam and explore. As you walk through these places, your way seems to wander, going with the flow, through huge, clean, open chambers, made more to be aesthetically pleasing than to be functional. Your journey continues, always moving upwards, sometimes only slightly, sometimes going up a flight of stairs, till you travel along a final hallway, looking down several floors to a fountain on your right, and walled by windows on your left. The view through the windows is similar to that of the greenhouse, only now you are higher above ground and can see what is on the other side of the wall for many miles in any direction, and you can look down to see where the wall bends, changing to stone as it does. Beyond both concrete and stone walls are treetops, and not much of anything else, save for a winding interruption that might be a river, and one tall, crumbling, rusted wall standing as a sober monument to a culture that was once yours. You turn into a short, more closed-in hallway and stop before a door with a golden number 5 painted on it, and wait with Annabelle as she knocks lightly and turns her ear to listen to some mumbling voices that sound like they might be arguing on the other side. The young man you met the night before opens the door, smiles, and waves his arm triumphantly back into the room, inviting you in to meet a silver-haired woman sitting at a large oak table in front of a bank of windows on the other side of a sunken living room. Her mouth only drops open for a second before she composes herself and smiles with her hands neatly folded on the table. She straightens herself up and nods to let you know it is time to approach her. You go around the living room, following the boy, and being followed by Annabelle, past what appears to be a welcoming or waiting area with a dozen gray chairs identical to the ones found in your room, lined up against the curved white wall to take a seat at the table beside Annabelle and across from the boy and the woman who looks like she might be his older sister. "This is my mother," the boy says, gesturing towards her. "She is the 5th Councilor of the Apostolate, and in a position to influence the decisions of the council. I understand you have many questions still unanswered, so I'm not asking you to argue for our cause. I would simply like you to tell the councillor what year you are from, and what has happened to you from when you arrived at the cottage till when you came here. And tell her we haven't coached you or told you what to say," Annabelle added urgently before checking herself and looking down to study her firmly clasped hands resting on the table. You begin speaking to the woman and notice her smile is frozen, as is the rest of her erect frame. She blinks often, and her eyes dart off in the direction of the other people present from time to time. She is friendly, but you can tell she doesn't like what you have to say. You continue speaking, telling your story, feeling secure in the knowledge it is important she know the truth. You speak uninterrupted for quite some time, and just as you are noticing your mouth and throat are feeling dry, Annabelle disappears into the kitchen and returns with 2 glasses of slightly glowing water. She places them in front of the woman and her son before going into the kitchen and coming back again with a glass of water for you and her. All 3 of these other people are contentedly drinking their water. You leave yours to just sit there as you finish up the last little bit of your story. When you are finished, the counselor appears to be more happy and relaxed as she shakes her head and says, "I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do, but I can think about that later. Right now, my primary concern is for your welfare." She looks at Annabelle and says, "Can you please go fetch my partner?" The young woman immediately gets up and exits the apartment, allowing the counselor's attention to return to rest upon yourself. If you are not happy in care, we can make other arrangements for you, but I agree with those I have spoken to about this, that this will be the best place for you for now. With any luck, this will be taken care of in no time, and my son says he will be able to bring you home to the exact time you left, if you would like to go home. Otherwise, you are welcome to stay here as long as you would like. My partner is a doctor. I would like her to have a quick look at you to make sure you are healthy. In your time, health was a different thing than it is today, and I'm sure she will be able to make you more comfortable for your stay. Of course, you are free to leave any time. My son says he can take you back if need be. In the meantime, please remember you are a guest, not a prisoner. But I think if you stay, you could be a major part of ensuring what you go home to is more normal, pleasant, and predictable than what you left the night before." You say you are okay staying and being in care for this time, then ask what the doctor is going to do. For the first time, the counselor laughs and looks authentically happy as she says, "Relax. The doctor isn't going to do anything to you. She is only going to ask you some questions and make some recommendations about how we can make your visit be as happy as it can be. Now, while you are waiting," she adds, leaning forward, "there are some things I would like to tell you that will be good for you to know. I'm not going to make any decisions about what to do moving forward until I have talked to the man in the basement you met last night, and have been able to sleep on this, consulting my inner self about what is the best course to take. I'm sure the right answer will come to me in the morning." The counselor pauses briefly, then continues. You come from a time at the beginning of some major changes in our environment. I'm sure you are already aware of this, and I don't know if you believe it is happening or not. You are also from a place that played a crucial part in the shaping of the history of humanity. The cottage you were visiting was only a few houses away from the original grand earthly mansion of our Savior Elliot Grey. You have left this place just before the downfall and resurrection of the human species, the most cataclysmic and important time in human history, the results of which are ourselves, here in the sanctuary. We are all that is left of humanity, yet we are thriving and life is good, thanks to our Savior. Protected here with the help of His sacred spirit, I'm sure we will overcome any challenges that await us, and the sanctuary will be, as it must be, preserved. You notice the boy is rolling his eyes. We of the apostolate have had suspicions for some time there may be some among us who doubt the wisdom of our Savior, the mother says without looking at her son. You are amused at how well she must know him. We did not know or even suspect anyone had gone beyond the wall and been able to return. We have heard rumors or stories about this, but we were convinced this must be fake news. As we all know, going beyond the wall is certain death. These last two words are punctuated by a sharp look in her son's direction before the counselor's monologue is interrupted by the arrival of Annabelle and the doctor. The doctor is a woman of slight build with angular features and long silver hair flowing down to her waist. She is light on her feet and appears to be almost dancing as she walks around the table to stand behind the mother and places her hands on her partner's shoulders. She is smirking, with her dark eyes sparkling, as Annabelle makes the introductions. You say greetings, and the doctor says greetings back to you, then plays to the rest of the gathering as she says, "Go figure, who'd have thought? You can certainly knock me over with a feather right now." She waits for the chuckles to die down as she takes a seat and leans towards you, first glancing at your glass of water, then staring at your eyes, moving her head slightly as she focuses on one, and then the other, and back to the first one again. "Don't drink the water," she says, still examining your appearance. "Not right now. I would wait till after lunch. Then I would plan to take a nap." The water takes a little getting used to, but don't worry. Drinking water is a very pleasant experience, and if you do, you will live longer, be in perfect health, and heal from injuries more quickly. I can see you have already had some exposure, but you're going to have to drink the water on a regular basis to have the full effect. Your eyes will darken right away, and your hair changes more slowly, because you were not born into the water. If you stop drinking it, your hair and eyes will go back to normal in a short time, but the health benefits will stay with you for years to come. If or when you go back to your own time, it would be best to bring some stones home with you, and I can tell you when the time comes what to do with them. The doctor leans back in her chair and seems to have finished her examination of your appearance, when she asks, "So, how are you doing? Are you happy? Any pain or problems?" You tell her you have never felt better and are in a good mood. "How wonderful," she says. "You are going to feel much better than this very soon, and you are going to continue to feel better for the rest of your long, happy life." You thank her for letting you know and tell her this is very good news. The doctor beams at you, showing you a perfect row of big shiny teeth, as the counselor asks, "Do you know those in care have taken a vow of silence to protect the privacy of those who trust you with their memories?" You only have time to nod before the doctor stands up and announces, "Time for lunch," and goes into the kitchen. She comes back a moment later with a glass of normal-looking water for you and moves your glowing glass over to where she was sitting. You down the glass in a few large, welcome gulps and feel the joyous warmth of it spread through your being. Mother and son join the doctor in the kitchen, where you can occasionally catch a glimpse of them opening and closing cupboards and moving things around to make lunch. The warm water in your belly is causing you to feel a great love and appreciation for these people, and you do feel as if everything is okay and all is right with the world. "You remind me very much of someone I knew back in my time," you say to Annabelle. "I feel as if you are her, only younger. Have you ever been to my time? Do you think sometime you might be going there?" Annabelle seems quite taken aback by this as she says, "No, I don't think so. Do you think?" You tell her you do think so, and that she is very happy in your time. The young lady's face lights up, and she is looking very encouraged as she says, "I hope so. That sounds like a marvelous adventure." Lunch is served, and you all sit down to sample various delicacies, both new and familiar, off of several square plates. And each thing you eat is just as wonderful, or more so, than what you had for your bedtime snack and breakfast. The mood and conversation is light and jovial, and you feel as cheerful and brave as those around you, as you are all preparing for a marvelous adventure. You avoid asking any questions about the apocalypse or any hardships that may have resulted from it, as you would like to spend some time just relaxing and enjoying yourself before saving the world. After lunch, you say your goodbyes, and the doctor accompanies you back to your room. Inside, the doctor is pouring you a glass of water as you remove your cape and make yourself comfortable on the bed. The glass of glowing water is placed beside you as you notice the lights are beginning to dim again. You pick up the glass to drink, and the doctor holds up a hand to signal you are to listen to some instructions first, and she seats herself on the chair. You put the glass down on the bedside shelf beside the buttons and slip under the covers, propping yourself up with the pillows. You are about to go on an amazing adventure into the land of sleep and good dreams, where only wonderful things will happen to you, she begins. You won't need any bod vibes or comforting audio for this, and because this is the first time you are drinking the water of life, it is best you have those experiences some other time. You will sleep, going through the various stages of sleep, and at times you will be semi-awake, knowing you are dreaming, and able to control the content of your dreams. Other times you will be exploring new dimensions of consciousness, and how deep you go will depend on how willing you are to learn. Before dinner time, you will become fully awake, feeling better than you have ever felt before. I will make sure someone will come to take you to dinner. Until then, take this special time just for yourself. My thoughts and feelings will be with you, and I will be sending you my love. She places a comforting hand on your mid-thigh above the coverlet and adds, "Rest easy and sleep well, dear person. Soon we will all know and love you, even more than we may Elliot Gray, because I have a feeling you are also going to save our world for us." The doctor then exits the room, stopping only for a moment to wish you a good night one more time before closing the door, leaving you in your semi-dark room with a slightly glowing glass of water. You hesitate only for a moment before deciding to take the plunge and drinking the entire glass of water all at once. At first, nothing happens. You look around the room and it all looks the same. Then you notice there is something different about the quality of the reality you are in, but you aren't sure how, so you lie down and fix your attention upon one thing, the red 11 painted on the ceiling. You wait patiently for a time till you become bored or tired, so you give your eyes permission to wander where they will, and as you relax more deeply, they automatically trace the outline of the two number ones several times, over and over, first one, then the other one. And your eyes become tired and your eyelids feel heavy, like they would feel so much more comfortable if they were allowed to simply slide shut. And the part of your spirit that is holding them open lets go, and your eyes do slide shut to be left behind, freeing who you really are to launch forward into a void where you sail past a red 11 that appears to be the only thing in here, feeling very much like a fish would if it was easily gliding through clean, clear water into an infinite ocean. You are likewise gliding, going faster and faster, faster and faster, and the faster you go, the less resistance you feel, traveling more and more quickly, till you are going deeper and deeper at a speed of thousands of light years per second into another universe that is somewhere out there in the darkness. You feel no wind or pull of gravity upon yourself, as you know your body is not here with you, but asleep on a bed far away. You see no stars or other objects to pass by you, to cause you to perceive you are moving. Yet you feel as if you are traveling an unimaginable distance through a dimension both inside and outside of known space-time, all at the same time. Dimensions open and close in ways difficult to understand using words in your brain, but caused by something you are doing with your mind that you have never done before. And whatever it is that is this new thing you are doing with your mind, it is something you would like to do over and over, because this new thing happening inside of you that is just a simple, easy, little inkling thing feels really good. And even better when this simple, easy, little twist of a clean, clear, quiet mind changes your experience of reality, or your experience of this pseudo-reality in a way that is abundantly pleasing to you. After a time, you float down, floating down more and more deeply into a wonderful feeling. And the deeper you go into this feeling, the better it feels. So you allow yourself to sink down more and more deeply, feeling more and more wonderful as you do. And you enjoy this feeling so much, you completely let go and just allow it to happen. And as you completely let go and allow it to happen, relaxing as deeply as anyone could possibly relax, then surprising yourself when you discover you can go even more deeply, till you wonder how deeply you can go if the only thing you do is release any and all tension, and enjoy how it feels when you are safely falling more and more deeply into a place in your own mind where your body is completely secure, resting on your bed as your consciousness is tumbling and falling softly and slowly through darkness that soon becomes punctuated by stars. And although you are able to understand above and beyond a 360-degree, three-dimensional reality, you are still aware there is so much more to this than you are perceiving. Now there are objects, stars, suns, and giant colorful gas clouds that move or stay still as they should. You're able to turn yourself in a way that causes you to feel like you are the right way up, and float down slowly for a little bit of time before you notice, below you, a dark shape with a sparkling silver lining, outlining a somewhat triangular shape that you are floating down toward. And the closer you come to this thing, the bigger it appears to you. And as you watch this beautiful thing very closely from far away, then from someplace nearer, it becomes obvious to you you are about to land upon the back of a creature that could be described as an oversized stingray, swimming gracefully through space, and it feels quite soft and comfortable as you settle down to rest upon it and position yourself in whatever position you think will be the best way to be if you would like to enjoy the ride and experience wonderful things while relaxing and letting this ray do all of the work for you. Gliding into a galaxy, at first the myriad of stars seem close, then quickly space themselves to be more and more far away from you. Small planets appear out of the darkness and become larger as you sail past them to note and enjoy the patterns and colors you observe, and the patterns and colors are unique to each one. And you find this interesting till you come upon a solar system that has two suns in the center, being orbited by an Earth-like planet with a sparkling ring surrounding it, reminding you of the planet Saturn, perhaps. You gently rest your attention upon the ring, causing you to draw this awesome new Earth towards you. And as it gets closer, and you get nearer and nearer to it, the ring divides itself into layers, and rings within rings made of gas, dust, or light, and others are more substantial, made of massive boulders. Some rings are pink or blue, but most are white, containing round, well-worn stones or rough, jagged boulders. They are all awe-inspiringly beautiful, and you cruise under, over, and around them till you are entering a sparse cloud layer that is hovering above your destination. The clouds feel effervescent on your skin, as if this fine mist you are traveling through is fizzy in a most pleasant way. It all soon blows away from you, and now you find yourself spiraling downward in continent-sized arcs. Slowly, softly, and gracefully. Traveling so slowly, the wind on your face is only a slight breeze. You are steadily spiraling down over a landmass with a complicated coastline and a ring-shaped clearing surrounded by a dense forest. As you grow nearer, and the downward circles you are flying in narrow and become more focused, you see the clearing resembles a crop circle in texture, containing circle upon circle of cleared vegetation, edged sharply on the outside and gradually fading into a thick, leafy canopy on the inside. The patterns in the ring are going around and around in a spiral pattern. Chartreuse is deepening to hunter green as you go around and around, steadily sinking down till softly and slowly you land on what you can discern from feeling the gentle bumps of the ray-like creature's back as it moves along the ground. Must be legs. 2 of them, you would guess. And it settles down and relaxes, laying its vast wings over the flattened grassy ground, allowing you some time to be still and survey the vast open field you have landed on the edge of. There is a meadow to one side of you, changing from the yellowed grass your ride is resting upon to become a thin, dark green underlining of a blue sky dotted with clouds and displaying the space rings beyond it. To the other side is the tree line, following a barely perceptible arc. And directly to your right, in front of the trees, is a row of about a dozen massive, multicolored snails, dwarfing the foliage and foraging in a neat line, clearing away the forest and leaving behind only soil that is obviously quickly regenerating itself to grow the flattened yellowed grass. There is a group of people around these snails, and one of these people is running towards you. You see this person is a young girl, about 11 or 12 years old. Her tanned arms and legs are bare, and the rest of her body is covered in a small dress made of many layers of colorful sheer fabric that stream out behind her as she sprints towards you. She stops just short of the ray's wing and waves her arm to beckon you as she calls out to you saying, "Welcome, kind stranger. You are not really here." End of chapter 3.